Hello there. Welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. More confused than angry. I hope everyone's doing great. What a week. I say that every week. Welcome to the show. This is a live discussion show, which I hope everyone will participate in. The discussion topics include anything you feel is newsworthy about racism, anti-racism, actually, anti-bigotry, inequality, and corruption in America. And as I always say, that covers everything. If you're new and watching, please join in. New people are welcome, and this is a participatory show. So if no one participates, then I guess I go to sleep. I'll be sad, but so since it covers almost every topic there is, you can talk about almost anything. Because racism, systemic racism, is completely just connected to every way of life we have in the world. Sadly, the show's meant to be an opportunity for viewers to speak their mind and also to serve as an educational tool, so that people can learn cultural competency and learn the truth about our real racial history and systemic racism. And let me tell you, there is nothing in a white person's life that is going to teach them this unless they go out and do it themselves. I am Legend. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you can participate a lot today while you're here, because I have a lot of questions that aren't really my place to be answering as usual. So I'm hoping to get some great feedback. If you ever want to get a hold of me and I'm not around on here, or you don't feel like calling in or messaging, you can private message me here on my Facebook page. And after I do a short rant, I will take people who are going to call in. And I have one person in mind that I'll tell you about later that probably is going to call in. And I'm really excited. She's going to tell us all about the work that she does. So let's get started. I put up a bunch of videos this week. So I hope you can check them out on my YouTube channel or on my Facebook page called Angry Soccer Mom. Today's topics that I have prepared for are, well, this is going to sound really rude, but the knocking, that police officer that got knocked out, a black man punched a police officer, I believe it was just one time, and boop, to the ground. I don't condone violence, but I do understand when one gets very, very angry, how little miss hand can turn into a little miss fist. Okay. Again, I don't condone it. I don't know what happened exactly. I read many articles on it, but I wasn't there. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit and ask your opinion on what you think. Thank you, I Am Legend. I appreciate it. Oh, Talanda, hello. Yay. Thanks for being here. My other topic I prepared was no tenure for Black professors. There's another one, a really big one. We'll talk about that. And the third topic, is it mental health or just another Karen? The place where mental health actually does intertwine with a person who's overtly racist. So, I mean, there is a point in which we say, okay, my God, this person is having a mental breakdown. Which came first? I don't know. Just something to talk about. All right. And of course, because we cover inequality and bigotry and all that here, when we do talk about it, I know everybody will be as respectful as possible within the boundaries of understanding that racism, systemic racism is just rampant in our system. I'm going to have Anastasia call in later on. And she's going to tell us a little bit about the work that she does in the Mississippi Black Lives Matter. And then lastly, if we get to it, solutions for saving our democracy. And I really do mean saving our democracy. Sad to say. I think we're going down, and it's not pretty. I want to say hi to Dave. Welcome, Dave. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Michael, hi. And thank you about the shelves. Thank you. I had a really, really good friend give them to me. So I am thrilled. And let me see. Anastasia, yay, you're here. Dave, would you believe my mom, who has a master's degree, once taught at Carolyn Kennedy at a girls' school, watches Fox News religiously? It's been hard to deal with. I do not know how you handle it. Sadly, I have a relative of my own that does the same thing. And I'm the first person to admit that so that I can stay in some sort of stable relationship with him. I don't really talk to him very much. And it's a really sad situation. Don't get me triggered. Yeah, Tia, we're definitely going down. I don't think people realize it, but what can I say? So today, I'm going to start out making things smaller. A lot's going on, and I hate to repeat myself, but I do tend to do that because a lot of this stuff is basic, but just really needs to be said. So I'm going to start with a rant that is not by me. It's by Timothy Snyder, who says that American conservatives are seeking their own memory laws. And if you don't know what a memory law is, you will soon know. We talked about it a little bit on the last Wednesday, and we defined it, but you'll find out. Oh, one quick thing. Although if you do know me personally, please don't mention my city. Right now, as we speak, there's a massive Black Lives Matter, I guess, I want to say riot, but it's not a riot. It's more of a protest, but the police are trying, from the pictures that I see, I had a few relatives down there, the police are trying to make it a crazy thing. And of course, that's what we use the word riot to blame the victims usually. And those are the people who are non-violently protesting. And from what I saw in many, many videos, people are non-violently protesting. And there's about 50 police out there. Just to make sure, they're non-violently protesting. Don't get me started. This nation, we have a huge problem in this nation. And it's not a Black person problem. All right. And that's all I'll say. And the reason I say that, and people are like, oh, how can she say that? I can say that because I'm trying to change the narrative. Change the narrative. And what I mean by that is, for pretty much ever in America, we as, people indoctrinated into this lovely society that I do love, but I do expect more from, have been, I guess, pushed and indoctrinated into believing that it's the Black people, it's the brown people, it's the immigrants, it's those other people who are causing all the problem, when lo and behold, the white folks have all the power, and the white folks have upheld and actually made stronger our system of racism. We've perpetuated it, and we've basically taken thorough advantage of it. And I'm not talking about slavery. I'm talking about way after that. Okay, that was one little milestone. All right, a lot of shit went down after that, and all of it has repercussions for today. You can't have something that horrific happen and not have it have ongoing generational repercussions. So I'm going to talk about Timothy Snyder and what he has to say, and then maybe Anastasia can call in. Anastasia says, it's funny, the Cubans protesting aren't called rioters or being abused. I wonder why. Right, calling me. I'll raise my hand. I know why. We in this country blame Black people for everything. Brown people are up next too. So I don't know. I have no answers. But yeah, we can talk about that more. So this is. I'm going to just back up a little if I can. I don't knock anything over here. Tonight's rant is by Timothy Snyder, and he writes, This spring, memory law has arrived in America. Memory laws. You might think, what the heck? Republican state legislature propose dozens of bills that are designed to guide and control Americans' understanding of the past. As of this writing, 5 or more states, Idaho, Iowa, Tennessee, Texas, and Oklahoma, have passed laws that direct and redirect discussion of history in classrooms. Another 12 state legislatures are still considering memory laws. The particulars of these laws vary. The Idaho law is the most Kafkaesque in its censorship. It affirms freedom of speech and then bans divisive speech. So a little confusing there. The Iowa law executes the same totalitarian pirouette. The Tennessee and Texas laws go further in specifying what teachers may and may not say. In Tennessee, teachers are not to teach that the rule of law is a series of powerful relationships and struggle among racial and other groups. Can't teach that and cannot say those words. The Idaho law mentions critical race theory, which really doesn't have much to do with this. Precisely, if you know what critical race theory is, the directive from the Florida School Board bans it in the classroom, although I'm pretty sure they don't know what it is. Texas laws forbid teachers from requiring students to understand the 1619 Project. In its pervasive goal, according to this famous person who writes about this, it's a matter, Timothy Snyder is one of the most well thought of speakers on the topic. It's a matter of teachers succeeding by not teaching enough so students understand the truth. A lot of people have an opinion on critical race theory. But I don't think it's quite as complicated as we think. Right now, the far right is using the term, they're using big words. And with all due respect, I think they're using too big words. They don't know what they mean. They're not familiar with these words, and they're using words that are big, that they're not familiar with, to scare their constituency into a frenzy, and that's what they have done. According to Jonathan Chisholm of the University Assistant Professor, any anti-racist effort is being labeled as critical race theory. I'll say that once more. Any anti-racist effort is being labeled as critical race theory, and that's just simply not what it is. But who cares about facts? We're in a post-fact era. Welcome to the post-fact era, where you can define anything in any way you like, go with it, get people freaked out who don't care to use critical thinking skills, and voila, you have yourself a bunch of people who are blind followers. This was done purposely to implement these memory laws. Now, understand that these memory laws have absolutely nothing to do with critical race theory, but to do with the goal that the far right has established, and that is to erase history. The laws are being made to make it illegal, yes, you heard me, against the law, to talk about our real racial history. Now, as you can tell from my emotions, that really, really pisses me off, okay? Because you see, we already whitewash and keep out anything because we don't want the truth to be spoken. I'm not 100% sure why, but I do believe that the wealthiest elites have a lot to do with this, in that as long as we blame Black, brown, indigenous people, and immigrants for all our problems, we will not turn our eye to the real problem, the wealthiest elites and the monopoly they have on everything in this country. And that is why we struggle to make, the masses struggle to make ends meet, while the wealthiest elites get richer and richer. And it's disgusting. Their worst fear is that we might unite one day and realize, the white masses will realize we have a common plight with Black, brown, indigenous people, and immigrants, because we're getting screwed over. But I'm not holding my breath, because we really love our racism, and it's disgusting. Timothy Snyder points out in a number of articles that this memory loss stuff is a classic technique used in fascism. And that's why he starts his article with, this memory loss have come to the United States. It's really scary. So simply put, the far right is attempting to use fear-mongering that a white child will be berated in a classroom and have emotional damage by his teachers daring to teach him or her their real racial history. So they've made it illegal to do so. And there's a lot of other states that are pushing it as well. Because see, our white feelings matter more than the horrific ongoing crime against humanity that systemic racism is. Our white feelings matter more. And I find that to be abhorrent and disgusting. But it really is consistent, and it doesn't have to be. But you know what? We benefit from it. So white people just aren't overly interested in making a society where we really do try to form a more perfect union. Because, you know, it's perfect for us. So what do we care? It just doesn't seem to matter. The critical race theory isn't even taught in public schools, but the larger issue is that it's all stemming from our desire to deny the truth about American racism. Legislators behind the Idaho bill say that critical race theory tries to make kids feel bad. Tennessee lawmakers said teaching about racism promotes division. It promotes division. Like, hello, there is division due to systemic racism. Like, I don't understand. And a pending bill in Rhode Island bans teaching the idea, just the idea, that the United States of America is fundamentally racist or fundamentally sexist. So we are making the truth illegal now. And I'm thinking there's going to be some high schools who end up, you know, high school students who turn in and video their teachers because their teachers hurt their cute, tender feelings by speaking the truth about history. I'm waiting for 1 + 1 to not be able to equal 2 because someone's feelings get hurt. I really am. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but it's no more ridiculous than teaching our real racial history is it? You tell me. Rant over. I'm going to take some comments and we'll go from there. Let me see. Dave, the right-wing Cubans in the U.S. I don't trust. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz are the best example of that. Cuba has been a dictatorship, but not anywhere near as oppressive as others. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what she's referring to, actually, but okay, got it. And Ronald, thank you for being here. It was great talking to you the other day. I had a wonderful time. And Talanda, that's exactly what I say. They are making the truth illegal, and that is insane. As a school teacher, it's from school teacher to school teacher, I say, yeah, it's insane. And illegal means that these kids are going to be turning in their teachers for telling the truth. If I was a history teacher, I wouldn't survive 1 minute because I don't play that game. I can't, and I won't. And I know that's a very privileged thing to say, because a lot of people actually need their freaking job so that they can survive. But I don't know how I'd do it because I can't lie like that. I can't BS like that. All this stuff is just as ludicrous and consistent with everything that's going on with Trump's GOP. And I say Trump's GOP is because he's running it right now. He might as well be in office for all practical purposes. The problems we're having getting anything through, I'll just say it right now. When you're dealing with insanity, you can't play sweet and nice with lots of personal integrity. When you're dealing with insanity, sometimes you have to do what it takes. And I never thought I'd say that. T, truth brings freedom, and they don't like that. Right. T, the lies are what keep our country in bondage. Absolutely. And the lies are extremely necessary so that we will never unite against the real problem economically. And that's the wealthiest elites. They're getting away with it. They have taken over our nation, and we are all screwed. I don't know what else to say. Just keep the black folk behaving. Don't let them go too free. Yeah, no, it's actually, and, again, Lyndon B. Johnson, he said it, and I won't quote him. I'll just paraphrase. He said, as long as the poorest white folks have someone to look down upon, they will do the dirty work of being racist as fuck for the wealthiest elites. And that is nothing could be more true. And that's not an exact quote, by the way, but that's kind of the way I look at it. And it's true, because we in America, we will vote against our own best economic interest just because our politicians, racist like us, they understand what it's like to be so special and white. And quite frankly, it's disgusting, but it works. Let's scare people and throw out propaganda that makes them afraid. And fear is awesome. Fear works great. And when people are fearful and they don't want to open a book and they don't want to Google anything, I mean, people, we are in an era of incredible communication technology. So this is willful ignorance. This is not like poor dear who just doesn't know. If you don't know, Ramses, welcome. Thank you, Ramses, and others who've been sending me articles, videos. I appreciate it very, very much, because I can't keep up. Mr. FS, especially Florida's community, talk about coming from oppression and dictatorship. That is Trump, and that is true. And there's a lot to that, a lot. Anastasia, Ron DeSantis signed an anti-riot bill into law, but during the protests, there weren't any arrests made, and the Miami-Dade Police Department redirected traffic for the protesters. Felicia3, welcome! Yay! I'm glad you're here. Welcome. So we have a lot to talk about tonight, and Anastasia is going to call in when she gets a chance, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she does. And it's amazing, and maybe it'll intrigue. Thanks. Maybe it'll intrigue you to do something in your state, or it'll just give you hope. She's wonderful. So whenever she calls in, we'll grab her. Oh, there she is. And I'm going to turn it up. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Welcome. Thank you so much for calling. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you wonderful.
Good. Welcome. I was
Thank you.
talking today, and she does some very special work. So I wanted to kind of have her take the floor for a few minutes and talk about what she does. Hey, Jordan.
Well, my name is Anastasia. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. My fiance moved to Mississippi, which, trust me, I had a significant emotional event about that. But when I got there, I seen that there was work that needed to be done. And a couple of colleagues and myself, we started Black Lives Matter Mississippi in 2020, soon after the murder of George Floyd. We actually all met at a protest over the comments of Mayor Hal Marks about George Floyd. He made a comment saying that if you can talk, you can breathe. And that people were vilifying the cops. And he also made comments about Trayvon Martin, that the verdict in the Trayvon Martin case was good.
Really?
That's Hal Marks. If any of y'all want to go look at his pages, he's disgustingly racist, and he actually used to be a teacher. He used to teach government. So when we're talking about this patriotic education, these are the type of people that's going to be teaching your kids patriotic education.
That's terrifying. And Anastasia, one of the things that I find so interesting, and interesting is kind of probably not the right word, is that teachers are allowed to lie, and they're allowed to basically make nice of everything and keep the truth. And they can't tell the truth now. And that's just, oh my God. Think of nations that do that. Think of the nations, North Korea? China?
Let's think about certain things. This didn't just start. I still remember being in the 4th grade in Black History Month and only learning that Black people were slaves. Mm-hmm. There was no before, there was no after. Mm-hmm. It was, we were slaves, we were better off here, because we could have been doing. Now, mind you, I'm 46 years old, so that you know how they try to make this time game. Oh, that was a long time ago. And I tell people, what are you talking about? When I was in fourth grade? So it's like really, really ridiculous. So the thing about it is, if anybody's done any reading, Clockwork Orange, 1984, Fahrenheit 9/11, and I know I mentioned that book, but I mean that movie. But if you look at a lot of these things, it's all newspeak, and it's all disgusting. And George Orwell knew what he was talking about when he wrote that book.
Absolutely.
So right now we are literally living in a dystopian novel.
Well, it's come full circle. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
When I hear the people talking and the politicians talking like that, it still is kind of surreal to me. How about you? I mean, I can never just get used to the bullshitting lies, and they're dangerous.
Well, they might as well just go out and burn books like they were doing. Because this is the thing, you got to think about it. This, you know, like again, as you know, I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So in The Alchemist, you know, he says that the universe will, conspire to give you what you want. And let's be clear, on a macro level, this is what white America wants. The fact of the matter is, we were tired of not being able to be racist anymore. We're tired of that. And how many times in American history has that happened? We learned it with the Native Americans. There are over 500 treaties that was broken. We're tired of playing the extra child. They did it with Asians. They did it with Hispanics. They did it with newly, like we talked about the last time, newly white people, the Irish, the Scottish, the Dutch, and all of them.
And then they combine them all to get the numbers. Right. Yeah.
They did it with black people, the compromises that they made, you know, and it was compromised on our back. So at the end of the day, this is what they want anyway. So, I mean, it's going to take, what I'm saying is, it's going to take a significant emotional event again. It's like these people want the Civil War.
No one's giving up their power. No one's giving up their power anytime. No one's giving up their power anytime soon.
Right, nobody's doing that. Even the nice liberals that I'm not racist. I go to the Black Lives Matter website. I donate money. You know, I don't call you people the N-word. You know, people like that.
They're not going to give up their power either.
Right, they're not willing to give up their power. And you can see it. Like, the thing about it is, all you have to do is look at these, and I hate calling them this name, because they should be called terrorists. These Karens.
Well, you know,
the situation you did the video on the lady that flipped out in the Victoria's Secret. If that would have been in the 1950s, how many black people would have been killed?
Oh gosh, absolutely.
We need to stop giving them these cute names. It's not cute. But I'll digress. I'll digress.
Yeah, tell us about.
One thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, tell us about your. I could talk to you for 10 years. Everyone's gonna be like, "But you're wonderful." Tell us about your organization and what you guys do, and then we're gonna schedule you to get you on here. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So Black Lives Matter. You know, we chew gum and kick ass. That's what we do. You know, the fact of the matter is that our mantra is we're going to fight till hell freezes over. And if there's any more injustice, we're going to fight on the ice. So get your skates. We deal with the totality of the Black experience and the totality of the non-white experience or the non-cisgender experience. You know, so we deal with all these things in its totality, from food to housing insecurity. We have put out Keisha alerts because we know that Amber Alert is not going to be put out for Black and brown people.
Right, and that's
we deal with on the ground things.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say I did an entire show on that once. A couple of years back.
You did. I watched it.
Oh, Wow, that's right.
And yeah, I watched it. I've been stalking you for a while. Ain't you talking about?
That's right. I can't believe. Yeah, it was a while ago. Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead. So I love it.
So what we deal with mutual aid. We do collaboration. We do mentorship. You know, we do whatever the community needs. If you need a security guard because these people are messing with you and your family, we're gonna pull up. And like with Hal Marks, you know, he said all these disgusting things about George Bush. We pulled up to his house because we're like, you make all these people feel uncomfortable. We're gonna make you feel uncomfortable. That's what we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And so the couple of cases I really wanted to talk to you about was one, the 4-month-old LaMelo Parker. LaMelo Parker was a victim of domestic violence and he was a victim of police violence. On May the 3rd, his father shot his mother, Christian, and her brother, her nephew, Brandon Parker. So they knew the Louisiana, they started in Louisiana. The Louisiana police knew about LaMelo being a hostage. It was a hostage situation.
In
right?
Mississippi.
So he drove into Mississippi. They put the spikes down, or whatever the case may be. Slowed him down, bumped him into the culvert. All of a sudden, because there's videos about it. All of a sudden, you see them cut loose into the car.
Shooting?
50 shots in the car, knowing that a 4-month-old baby,
a little newborn, was in there.
Was in that car.
Oh,
so
Anastasia, I'm so sorry. T's asking, her organization is Black Lives Matter of Mississippi. Okay, go ahead.
Black Lives Matter of Mississippi. Yeah. And so once they did that, then the lies started. He was using the baby as a shield. He was shot at the cops. All lies.
Right.
All on videotape.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what ended up happening, once people were like, well, his father had a gun. The reason why the baby died is because of his father. A lot of people cut it off and was like, well, you know, but we're like, no, because we know if that was a white child in that car, or that was a white man with a white child,
all hell would break loose. Yep.
And let's be clear about something. We had white children, basically, Jeremy Martin. He was killed by cops too. His dad, they're trying to figure out what happened. They think the dad was stopped, took the child on a high-speed chase. The black cops shot in the car, killed Jeremy. You know where those cops are right now?
Jail? Prison?
In jail.
Yeah. It's
in jail.
The double standard, the triple standard, the quadruple standard. It's ridiculous. Yep.
Right.
It's
exactly. Those guys are in jail. Mm-hmm. The murderers of LaMelo are not in jail, and nobody's talking about it.
Right. So you guys are.
Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
You guys are.
Oh yes, we're definitely we're definitely going to talk about it. So the thing about it is we're still protesting about LaMelo. We're in touch with his family, and we mourn because Kristen, his mother, left 4 of the children behind. So it's not just that LaMelo is dead. Now a mother and a father is gone, and now these 4 children are, without a mother.
And the whole community,
right?
Is impacted. Yeah, it's
right there.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Could you say that again? I'm sorry.
The whole community is impacted, and the whole nation, and it's just there's so much going on. People just kind of forget, like, these are real. This is not a movie. These are real humans, and the police are still out there. And it's a free for all.
Yes,
really bad.
And so exactly. And so the next case I wanted to talk to you about is a 7-year-old child. Her name is Amaya Braxton. Now, the thing with Amaya Braxton, And when I talk to her mother about this,
Mhm.
because I'm in contact, any person that you hear me mention, I'm in touch with the family.
Mhm.
We don't advocate. I mean, we advocate for people, but we try not to. We don't raise any money. We don't do GoFundMe.
Mhm.
Anything that we get is from small dollar donations, and we are not a part of the national. Because I know a lot of people. Oh, the national got $90 million.
Right.
Black Lives Matter Mississippi didn't get any of that.
Right.
And
So you
we
guys
didn't
are your
ask
own.
for it.
Yeah. I'm
You know.
glad that you made that clear, that you guys run your own
Yeah.
subsidiary of it for Black Lives Mississippi, and that's really important. And yours
Right.
is personal. It's
Right.
personal, and I love that.
Right. Our board members are all Black. Because a
Excellent.
lot of times we have a situation where, it's ran by white people. We have no board members that are white on our board. But at the end of the day, if you have a person, regardless of their ethnicity, if you have a person that's upholding white supremacy, that's the only employment and vocation that's colorblind and gender blind, which is white supremacy. And that's just point blank and simple. So we vet everybody. And we've been the same board members since 2020 are the same board members now. So the one I wanted to talk to you about was Robert Logan. Now, Robert Logan was killed in 2018, right? He was killed in the same fashion as George Floyd. He was out, how it initially started, he was outside in Grenada, Mississippi. He was going through a mental health issue and needed help. Of course, they sent the cops. The cops arrested him, roughed him up. He even said, "Y'all gonna kill me. Y'all gonna kill me." So a bunch of cops just piled on him and sat on him for 6 minutes. So he had positional asphyxia. I spoke to his father. His father's name is Arthur Robert. And I spoke to his sister. And when they went to see him, he had broken teeth. He had bruises on his face, all kinds of stuff like that. It's a video. The video is disgusting. Honestly, the nonchalantness of it, it's George Floyd before George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this happened in 2018. But the other part of that is his mother, Debbie Logan, was also killed in police custody in the same town, and they hog-tied her.
God.
Threw her in the back of the police car, and she got a positional asphyxia.
It's unbelievable. It's just murder with impunity. It's a goddamn free for all. It's
yes, ma'am.
I'm just appalled, and we all know about it, and it's common knowledge. Everybody knows about the blue line. It's common knowledge. Yet here we are. It's disgusting.
Right. So the next one I wanted to talk to you about is Amaya Braxton, and I think I was talking about it, but I kind of went off on
No,
a
that's
tangent.
okay. Yeah, go back to her because she's that's okay.
So Amaya was killed in 2016, October 4th, 2016. She was 7 years old.
She's a little baby.
I'm sorry.
She's just a little one. She was
little baby,
little child,
little baby.
Yeah.
Now, logistically, I think that's why I got off, because logistically, I want to explain it to everybody. So the school bus is on the road in front of her house. The door opens on the right side of the school bus. Amaya's house is on the right side of the school bus. She wasn't crossing the street. She didn't go in front of the bus. She didn't go behind the bus. The reason why I'm saying this to you, because I've known of children getting hit and fatally killed, or getting hit and she was walking to her house.
Mm-hmm.
Karen Carpenter, whatever she was doing, doesn't matter, not my problem, jumped over the culvert, swerved into Amaya's yard. Amaya pushed her little brother out the way, or she would have killed both children. She dragged Amaya 25 feet up the road. Child was dead.
That's
The
horrible.
mother was left to clean up her own child's blood. Amaya has never gotten any justice. Now, if you know anything, if anybody knows anything, there was a law that came out called the Nathan's Law. The Nathan's Law came out in 2015, 2014. Amaya died in 2016. They didn't use the Nathan's Law on Amaya. There was a white child that died 2018, 2019. They used the Nathan's Law on this child. So till this day, her mother, Andrea, has yet to get any justice.
Now, can you tell?
About
Can you tell us a little bit? I know we got to wrap it up, but can you tell us a little bit about Nathan's Law and what that would have done for? Not to put you on the spot, but can you explain?
Right, no, because that's why the internet is wonderful. Because you know what? Because all I gotta do is pull it up.
Yeah, because that would have helped.
Right. So basically, okay, hold on. Let me pull it up for you because I want to pull up the right information.
No,
but basically, what it is, Nathan was killed. Okay, so I'm pulling it up right now. So with Nathan's Law, Nathan was killed. He was he was a little child that was killed. He got hit after getting off the school bus. So basically, it goes into the fact that if you see the school bus's arms down. So I'll read the act. An act to create Nathan's Law to amend Section 63-3-615 Mississippi Code of 1972 to clarify the offense of passing a school bus was stopped to load or unload students and to revise the penalty. Therefore, to require the State Department of Education to develop curriculum guidelines for school bus safety. So basically, just to cut it down for you, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna get it right here. Nathan Key was 5 years old and was struck and killed by an SUV as he got off the bus in front of his home on Houston Road some 15 years ago. So this basically, with this Nathan's Law, tells you how far you have to be away, what happens if you don't do these things, and the penalties for passing a school bus. And back then, when Nathan was killed, it was little less than literally. So there wasn't, you didn't go to jail for hitting the child coming off the school bus.
Just
so after Nathan's Law, they put certain penalties that if you passed the school bus or you were within 10 feet or you was on your cell phone and it went to safety equipment and all things like that to make our kids that much safer.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, like I said, everybody knows about Nathan's Law right now. But
in the day, they didn't.
Before, right? And that when he was killed, it wasn't really a thing. It was like, okay, so he died. He was murdered in 2009. So that's what happened with Nathan's Law. Now Nathan was killed. Right. This is all in Mississippi now. All of these things are in Mississippi. So this is not out of state. These things are all in Mississippi. So Nathan was killed in 2009, right? Amaya was killed in 2016.
But they didn't use that law to apply to her case and hold the mother responsible. Not the mother, the driver responsible.
Right. Now, but the man that killed Nathan, right? He was sentenced to 22 years. The woman that killed Amaya didn't even get a citation.
She
wasn't even arrested.
Wow.
And she tried to flee the scene. That's what I'm saying. Her mother talks about it all the time. It's on Facebook, Justice for Amaya. And I'll send you all that stuff after I get off the phone with you.
Please do. Thank
you.
Like
I said, I'm sorry?
Thank you. Yes, would be great.
And that's the thing, because So at the time when Nathan was killed, Mississippi law didn't contain any language that pertained directly to the penalty for hitting a child with disembarking a school bus. State school bus safety law, the one I read, only states that drivers must stop behind a stopped school bus that is receiving or discharging children. The law provides fines. That's at the time when Nathan was killed. Fines are violated $200 to $500. It also stated that the violator may be in prison for no longer than a year. Now, this is your child getting off the school bus. The school bus arm is down, and this person still hits your child. That's what it was before.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. So the fact of the matter is that now with the Mason's law, you get more time and you get more penalties that come along with it.
But if they're not going to apply it, then
right.
That's anyway. It's just horrible. But
and this is what happens. Like I said, there's a lot of people that are murdered in Mississippi. That Black Lives Matter. We had a gentleman. His head was cut off.
Did you say head?
Was cut off.
His head was cut off?
Yes, his head was cut off.
Oops.
His head was cut off, and the same person skinned his head and was able to go home on bail.
So what the heck's going on in Mississippi? Oh my God.
The same thing that's always been going on in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. The same thing that's always been going on in Mississippi.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, a lot of people think all those things are still not happening, and it is still happening.
I absolutely believe you.
And we have a situation where there was a young man. He was going to work. He was minding his own business. Two white supremacists, drunk, pulled up on him, started calling him the N-word, doing all kinds of things. The white men got out the car and was like, "We got something for you." He shot the white man. He was arrested for first-degree murder.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is self-defense.
Unbelievable.
And we also had a teenager. This white man threatened to kill the family. He threatened to kill the young boy. He had hit these children before. He came up on tackled the young boy. The young boy shot him. He was taken to jail.
So a lot of injustice. A lot of injustice.
I'm sorry?
There's a lot of injustice going on, and racial injustice, and it's just happening. And wow.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times I try to get in touch with these organizations, and they don't write you back. And it's like I'm trying to tell you, what happened.
Are you talking? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Anastasia. Are you talking about the National Black Lives Matter organization to get some assistance?
I'm talking about the NAACP.
Oh, the NAACP. Okay.
I'm talking about the NAACP. I'm talking about National Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
I'm talking about, I wrote, Internet Stars. Now there's people like the African Diaspora News Channel, Demetria K. She's helped us.
Okay.
Mr. Jerry Wicker, he's helped me and stuff like that. But you have to, I'm sorry, his name is Jerry Mitchell.
Jerry Mitchell.
I've written people like Gary Chambers. I've written Kev on Stage. All of these people, and some of them have answered me back. But a lot of times, I think they think that the things that were going on during the 50s and the 60s in Mississippi, that is still not going on. It is literally still going on. You literally have KKK rallies marching through the streets still in Mississippi.
Well, that's one of the reasons I really want you on the show. I want you to be able to tell and have your voice heard, because people need to understand the deniers. It's kind of like, who's the loudest voice in the room. It's not who's speaking the truth. It's who can yell the most. And the truth is, I believe every word you say, and I absolutely believe it. Our country has a disgusting love affair with white supremacy. It's just it's off the charts. So I got to get you on here.
Yeah. So we just had a case. We just had a case that happened. The family. Now this goes into the trashiness that is Mississippi, right? And the cross-state trashiness that is Florida, right?
Oh, okay.
So we had two young men. One was in high school. He was just turning 18 years old. His older brother, football player, student athlete. They went to Florida. Their father took them to Florida to celebrate the younger one's birthday. These children went there. By the night in, they were in jail, allegedly accused of an armed robbery, even though they got there that day from Chicago.
Yeah.
So the family called us because they're originally from Mississippi. So they called us to help. And so as we're navigating all of these things, we're like, wait a minute. So they looked at what they had on, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person that got robbed, right? Said that it was 7 black men with black ski masks,
mm-hmm.
black outfits on, black shoes on. That's it.
It could be anybody.
These children didn't have any of that on.
Yeah. I hear you.
Not at all. These two children, one had rainbow Crocs on and like a red Jordan shirt. Like they only fit the description because they were black.
Absolutely. Yeah. They want to find a black person to blame. And
so what happened was, and I'll leave it at that, these two children, 18
mm-hmm.
and 20, were held for 33 days.
Oh my God.
Without being charged.
In another state.
So now we got a situation where the police were trying to get them to confess, get them to plead, just like they did the Central Park 5.
Oh God, that sounds so classic.
That's what they were trying.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's what they were trying to do. Get them to plead,
mm-hmm.
say that they did something that they didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of them would say it. They arrested 2 other 16-year-olds with them. So now you got 2 other 16-year-olds, 2 minors arrested as well for a crime they didn't commit. Now let's think about it this way. They're from Chicago. They're originally from Mississippi.
Right.
So they're going from Mississippi to Chicago to Florida
mm-hmm.
on a weekly basis. Mind you, having to find a lawyer.
That's insane.
And do all of these
things. Right. That's just insane. It is, our system is a system of injustice, and it's disgusting.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So that's all I wanted to know.
Okay, what a story. Oh my God.
To end with those things, I just want your viewers to understand mm-hmm. that Black people are still suffering out there. And I'm not, a lot of times they say, oh, it's gotten better. No. We have people just 2 months ago was lynched in Mississippi. Just 2 months ago.
Yep.
Lynched. The cops about a year or 2 ago just rolled over this black man with their car. And the reason why I know these things is because the people, they send us the pictures. Mm-hmm. They send us the stories. Mm-hmm. We're out there protesting. Mississippi is a whole entity of garbage and trash and racism. And the way they have it to where, say you want to, because I endured it. I went to go turn in voter registration, mm-hmm. which is crazy. And I was accosted by bailiffs threatening to arrest me.
For what?
If I wouldn't give him the voter registration. What happened was it was COVID, so we were registering people to vote. Mm-hmm. So usually I would just go to the county clerk, mm-hmm. To the voter registration. Mm-hmm. He was like, you can't go in there, just give them to me. I'm like, I'm not giving you anything. Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? Right.
He wouldn't give me his name. So I'm like, I'm not giving you no voter registration. And this is, now mind you, this is the same county clerk's office that Luther Cox used to work at. I don't know if you know who Luther Cox is.
No, I don't.
But Luther Cox was a notorious white supremacist, notorious with ask black people, how many bubbles are in this bar of soap? And if you couldn't answer how many bubbles was in the bar of soap, he would say you were illiterate and couldn't vote.
Right. Okay.
They would, yeah.
I mean, just ludicrous things that are just voter suppression in its worst form. Wow.
Right. So now, mind you, this is the same place I'm going right now. Is the same place where there was rampant voter suppression. Mm-hmm. This is the same place that Vernon Damer was murdered. So Hattiesburg has a history for these things. So of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not giving you this. Are you crazy?
Hey, you'll throw it away.
You'll throw it away.
Throw it away, right?
So what ended up happening is I called the president of NAACP, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to turn these voter registration, this bailiff share is a cost to me. Mm-hmm. Make a long story short, I made a complaint about him, mm-hmm. and my complaint was taken care of. But these voting laws and these voter intimidation, I'm telling you, it's real.
Absolutely.
And it's happening in 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. I believe you.
That's all.
Thank you for your report. I cannot thank you enough for coming on and taking your precious time to teach us what's really going on. There's nothing better than having somebody who's right there and you're right on the inside. So
all I have to say to everyone, I'm going to put the story of the McNichols family. I'm going to put the story of Amaya. I'm going to put the story of LaMelo, and I'll put the story of Robert Logan. Please, everybody out there, make some noise, please, because we need for them not to be forgotten. And just as a reminder, it was the anniversary of the murder of Sandra Bland yesterday.
That's right.
So rest in power.
Thank you. And I'll post everything as well. Well, thank you so much. You're wonderful. We'll be in touch.
All right. Have a good night. I'm going to still be watching you, though.
Okay. Jump right in whenever you want to. Thank you, Anastasia. You're wonderful. So that was Anastasia, and she is one of the people who does a lot of work with the Mississippi Black Lives Matter. And she said they're not associated with really the larger national group, but this is personal. This is personal. And I am absolutely thrilled to have her come on here. I was watching some of the conversation on here. It's people like to, we live in this like kind of fantasy world, us white folks, not all of us, but most of us, hello, S. Lionel, welcome. Thank you. I hope you're happy to have you here. So we got people who are in the inside who can tell us the truth. We're living in a post-truth era. We're living in an era that people are making laws that we aren't allowed to tell school kids the truth about our real racial history. This is some scary shit, you guys, and I don't need to tell you this. So I'm going to go on with the next topic that I have planned, but I sure appreciate everyone being here and listening. If you believe like I do that it is way past time for white America to learn our real racial history, to learn how to talk about it, find our voices, and get our ass out there and start teaching other white people. Please consider subscribing. And the nicest thing you can do to get the word out is to help share my videos. Pick one. There's over 1,000 of them. Pick one that you like, especially, and get your people to check out what I have to say and what my people have to say. And my people aren't white people. My people are anybody who truly loves their fellow humans and is not going to stand or sit and do nothing while systemic racism is rampant. We're all born into it. I get it. Nobody here was a slave. Nobody here owned a slave. However, It's called racial responsibility. It's called personal integrity. If you're a white person and you don't understand what's going on here, then you are part of the problem. And right now, at the highest levels of our government, we are all being used. That is the masses. We are being used. How we are being used? We are being told lies, and we are buying into them. And what that does is it keeps us nice and distracted so that we will never unite against the wealthiest elites. And, it might be too late now. I mean, too little too late. I just posted a video that explains what monopolies are. And a lot of people are like, oh, we know what monopolies are, but it's very specific. It's a Robert Reich video. I posted 2 of his. And you know what? Robert Reich is this wonderful, incredible man. He's worked for a number of administrations in the federal government. He's brilliant. He's a Berkeley professor. He does amazing videos. And he might not be as, exciting, but he is an incredible teacher. And if we really want to be able to inform people that we know about the truth, I cannot think of anybody more important to listen to. He gets it. He just gets it. Open Bob, hello, welcome. It's really scary, but he will talk about monopolies in specific. For example, you can watch the video, but when you go to the store and see all those brand names, you're not seeing monopoly. Bob, monopolies are ruining everything. Absolutely. The checks and balances are just gone or not being applied because it's not working. And what's happening is you'll see like 10 different types of meat. It's all the same mother company or father company. It's all the same. And watch this video. You will not believe it. So you think, oh, all this competition, because supposedly competition's good. Okay. But we don't have competition. The little kid on the side, I kid you not, the lemonade stand, lots of luck with that. When I was a little kid, it wasn't like that. It has become like that. And it might be too late. I don't know. I'm going to take a few comments and we're going to go on to, I want to know your opinion about this police that got clunked on the head and knocked out by a person after he said something, a very rude, racist. I don't think the person knew he was a police, but what are you going to do? I'll tell the story and you can tell me what you think. Very tough stuff. Let me just back it up here. Pennsylvania, known as the Alabama of the North, huh? I don't know. I go there a lot, but I don't know a lot about that. Let me see here. Open Bob, I'm glad you liked that video. He is amazing. The U.S. is not, Dave, the U.S. is not even the wealthiest country in the world per capita. We are ranked 12. Well, the problem is we hold this great record for having the largest divide between the wealthiest and the poorest. And it is continuing. And it is growing. And it wasn't always like this. We've always had our problems, but it's out of control. Monopolies are ruining everything. Absolutely. Let me see. Dave, I also read that there are 8 really poor red states that have lower family income than Greece and 7 other. Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is we are supposed to be a country that's well off. And clearly, I'm actually doing a video on, and I'm going to give a lot of those statistics to explain to people. Economics is everything here. And part of the racism they use the racism to keep us divided, to blame the wrong people. How much power do you think immigrants really have? Are they really in power? Do they have like a lot of pull? Are they paying off people, or are they, please? But we just love our racism. I don't get it, So let me just take a couple more. Let me see here. Oh my gosh. Pennsylvania and covert racism. I've heard, dang. All right. I'm just reading some of the comments here. I'm legend. I lived my entire life in Pennsylvania, and it's a very racist state. The Grand Wizard of the KKK's used to or still lives in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Great. That's like really scary stuff. It really is. Sometimes I feel, I don't know, you guys, I feel like we really haven't made the progress that we should have. And it's simply because the system that is in place is so incredibly powerful. It's more powerful than any one of us. And apparently, the people who have the power to run this place like the racism. Because if they didn't, we wouldn't have it. So, our country's not really run by the people. I don't know if it ever really was, but it certainly is not now. We white folks are living a lie. And it's disgusting. And that's why I never shut up about racism. Oh, hello. I'm from the UK. Racism is 10 times worse here. You know what? I have a bunch of friends. Thank you so much for being here. I have a bunch of friends from the UK, and I have heard stories. Oh my goodness. I have a couple of good friends from there, and I've heard a ton. I know the biggest thing right now is the soccer stuff going on. And anytime you want to come on, I'd be thrilled to have you. If you scroll up, there's a way to contact me. If you want to tell stories or just say hi or anything like that, to private message me from my Facebook page called Angry Soccer Mom. But yeah, I've heard so much. This is a huge problem that expands all over the world. But for a nation that boasts liberty and justice for all, I find it especially disgusting. We're full of shit. We're full of it. So I want people's opinion. I'm going to read a little bit about Open Bob. You're right. The system likes it's racism. That's why I don't respect the American flag. When I say, well, right now, the American flag, tell me what you think. To me, it's almost a hate symbol now because it's been used over and over again by some of the most hateful people in my lifetime I've ever seen. So I'm starting to associate it with hate. And that's not what it was meant to be. It was meant to be our symbol of our country. But they've kind of usurped it and taken it and made it stand for some sort of perverse patriotism that's combined with racism. So I look at it and I think, and that's a horrible thing. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But we are allowing this to happen. And I don't mean you and I don't mean me. I mean, we as a people, white folks, it's depraved. Tolanda, well, if you go back to the beginning of colonialism, it makes sense that racism is all over. It's definitely a global problem as well. Absolutely. I just, my little girl asked me today in the car, she said, how did we get to be such a wealthy nation so fast? And I told her. She probably wishes she didn't ask me because, of course, I was blabbing. But I told her exactly, because we took human beings and we made a law that rendered them not human. And we forced them to do work for free year after year, after decade, after century. And it's the truth. But wouldn't want to say that in school because somebody's feelings might get hurt, Anyway, don't get me started. Interesting, T. Wow. So I need your opinion. Knocking out a police officer. Yeah, let me know when you find it. Tell us because I want to know. Knocking out a police officer. This week in Knoxville, Tennessee, a police officer from the Knoxville Police Department was knocked unconscious at a wedding after allegedly making some really racist statements. He was being obnoxious. I think he was intoxicated, maybe. I don't know. Officer Tanner Holt was off duty at the time and speaking in the parking lot when the assault happened. I do not know the details. And details matter. They really do. Details matter. He was off duty. He was speaking in the parking lot, according to the incident report. Holt was talking to Jonathan Toney, who said he I didn't know they let Black people in reception halls. So, it's just obnoxious. Blatantly obnoxious. There's no miscommunication there. The officer went on to say that he was part of the Black community too. I don't know what he's trying to do. Tony told responding officers he asked Holt several times to stop making comments about race, but the off-duty officer refused. Tony explained that he just couldn't take it anymore. And that's not an excuse to do something to somebody. I don't know if he was in his face. I don't know if he was encroaching on his, personal space or threatening him. I don't know. But he popped him one and he went to the hospital. Holt was taken to the hospital, and a lot of things are pending. I don't have follow-up on it. Internal Affairs has launched an investigation at the request of the police. And a decision will be made as to what this man is going to do. But, I got to stop us right there, because the bottom line is this. Racism is bad enough. But when you give someone a gun, zero education, and they're racist as fuck, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to use their gun, use their taser, use their power to harm Black people. I'm sorry, I don't need to know the case. If he was really saying that, then he needs to not be a police officer. Sorry, that's my take. That's my white angry soccer mom take. No, overt racism does not have a place anywhere. But for the love of God, give him a gun and a taser and some power? That's insanity. So I bring this up because it brings up a number of important questions. At what point does a person's aggressive words become a threat? At what point does someone's words that are aggressive become a threat? And you tell me, should police who display this type of overt racism ever be allowed to actually continue to be police? I want to know what you think. My mind says absolutely not, under no terms. It's ludicrous to even think it. We have a horrific problem in America. We know about the blue wall, the blue line. Every last person knows about it. Yet we're kind of okay with it, The people in power, we know about it. Just like we knew about slavery, and we might not have owned a person, a human being, but we were kind of okay with it, Same damn thing. We know that there is a culture of corrupt police in America. Police are the gatekeepers of systemic racism, always have been, from their origins as slave patrol all the way up through their upholding of barbaric laws that kept people, Black and brown folks, oppressed, harmed, terrorized, and murdered. So they are the folks. We know about it, yet there's nothing on the national level that can at least try to stop this. It's insane. Like, I need to tell you. Let me take some comments. T, yeah, I heard about the UK, but I don't know much. T, well, if you go back to the beginning of colonialism, it makes sense that, yep. Okay, so I just want to skip anybody. Did you come up with that show or not? Not to put you on the spot. Interesting. Thank you, T. You have wonderful comments. Open Bob, and they want to prevent children from learning it in school. Absolutely. They want to, my take on it, and I don't know if you think this, my take is basically when I was in school, and I'm kind of old, when I was in school, there was zero history from basically emancipation on. Nothing happened. Everyone was dancing in the streets, and then equality. Like, it was like we jumped to 1964 immediately. It's like my education was emancipation. Yay. Now. That was it. It's ludicrous. Okay, so if you want to scroll up, you'll find the name of what she was talking about. Thank you, T. Thank you. And now we have these memory laws that we're enacting so that teachers are forced to not speak the truth, or basically lie. Exterminate all the brutes on okay. I think I've heard of that. Colonialism is what I mean. Yep. So what do you guys think? What makes a person a threat? You tell me. I don't know, but all I know is this is out of control. The next topic I wanted to talk about is the tenure. I don't know if you guys have been following, but this week, there's just so much to follow. Another brilliant Black professor resigned due to racism and white authorities deciding that they weren't worthy. Anastasia, it's funny to me that these patriots say we built this country, but say slavery or the Trail of Tears, and they are quick to say, well, I didn't do that. Right. They pick and choose. It's all just one big bullshit session. I mean, I'm sorry to say it in my mind. History's history. History's ugly, a lot of it, but it doesn't make it any less true. And all this post-truth era bullshit is just off the charts. Since when did somebody's opinion and an expert become equal? Since when does real racial history and someone whose feelings are hurt by it, their opinion became equal? No, I'm sorry. The truth is still the truth. History's still history. And I'm sorry, your feelings being hurt by history are not a factor in the truth. I'm sorry. If you take it that personally, then you're making it about you. And white folks, it's not about us. It's about a system that we, as white people, not you personally, created a system. And after emancipation, shit went down that most people have absolutely no clue about. And that's purposeful. So it's up to white folks if you care about your fellow humans, and if you care about your democratic republic, if you care about all these freedoms that you think are free, then you will learn your real racial history and find your voice and start teaching other white people the truth. Because right now, the wealthiest elites, thank you for their service. We're doing their job. We're doing the dirty work for them. Blaming people who have done absolutely nothing, but who've been the victim of the system, instead of the real people who are getting more and more wealthy as we all struggle. I don't even know. Everything's backwards. It's like backwards day or whatever. Okay. If he acts threatening, it's a threat. If you ask me, Open Bob, thank you. Yeah. I don't know the details of the story, but details matter. Sure, you should ignore somebody if they're being a jackass and they're, drunk and whatever. But this is a police officer. Totally changes the power dynamics. Did he know he was a police? I don't know. Was he in his face? Was he in his space? Was he being aggressive? Was he being silly? I don't know. And people can say, I saw tons and tons of comments saying, it's just horrible and terrible that anyone should touch anyone for their words. Well, you know what? It is. You're right. But we don't know. There's so much more to it. There's a lot of gray area. And it was a police. And maybe he was in his face. I don't know. So, this is just one in a million plus of incidences that occur every single day, because white folks have to live this lie, this fantasy. It's our little fantasy, and it's disgusting. And in my mind, it's terrorism, because you're never safe. You never know who would like to murder you or would like to look at you as a non-human. That's terrifying. You just don't know if you're safe or not. And that alone, to me, is terrorism. Life's hard enough. This just can't continue. Let me see. No country. Hello. Don't trust the government. It's population. You know what? It's a lot of things. I definitely think it's money. Follow the money. So let me tell you about this for people who might not know about this, what happened this week. So this week, another brilliant professor resigned due to racism. When a professor's gained, for a university professor, tenure is an academic term referring to, the educator's employment status within a higher education institution. And when a professor's gained tenure, he or she can only be terminated in certain situations, and it must be justifiable cause, and under there's certain, like a program has to be discontinued, or there has to be severe financial restraints. So they have job security. Tenure establishes job security and status. Well, last week, a lot of you were here. The founder of the 1619 Project, Nicole Hannah-Jones, made a decision to reject a tenured position at UNC and take a position at Howard University, a historically Black college. And it was a terrible situation that she went through. And the faculty at UNC approved her tenure. I'll say that again. They approved her tenure, okay? But the Board of Trustees denied it originally. And you know why they denied it. The board of directors apparently concluded that Hannah Jones simply didn't measure up to the standards for tenure, even though she's a Pulitzer Prize winner and a MacArthur Genius Grant recipient. A Pulitzer Prize winner. Hello. I don't know what they expect, but she mentioned I saw the interview when she announced this, and we talked about this last Wednesday. She was the only person, woman, or Black person, or any person to ever not get tenure like this. And she was appalled. There were protests all over the place. They got ugly. There were videos, not good. The board meeting got ugly. Students at the NCU stood up for her tenure. And the board acquiesced to the pressure and offered her tenure, but it was just too little too late. And she ultimately said no to her alma mater, choosing Howard instead. And I think Howard University it's amazing for them. They're probably thrilled getting somebody of that quality of an academic. But this week, Cornel West, an eccentric professor, public intellectual, and a progressive activist, resigned from Harvard because of a tenure dispute. Another Black professor who's absolutely celebrated. His resignation came after he said that Harvard denied him an opportunity to receive tenure and the indefinite academic appointment that makes it extremely difficult to remove professors. Cornel West, who once again is an esteemed left academic, he's taught at Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. Harvard University and Harvard Divinity School both declined comments about his resignation. And I want to know what you think. Racism is embedded in every single area of human life. And even in higher learning centers like Harvard and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I want to know what you think. This is not good. And it's really, really, it's out of control. I'm going to take a couple comments and then I'm going to wrap up this show for the night and end a little bit early. But I will see you next Wednesday. Let me take some comments real fast. Let me see. Anastasia, white America is that child that parents allow to bite and hit other kids, but when someone hits back, it's a problem. Absolutely. Yeah. The standards are for us, but not for you. That's basically the way we look at it. Us, meaning the white people. So on T. Anastasia, doctor, did you see that video about how these white children on the playground were calling a Black family turds? T, when the mother was confronted, she acted like the victim. Your comment reminded me of that. And on a last note, did you guys see the video of, and this I had a lot of issues with, and it was extremely tough to watch. Did you see the video of the woman in New Jersey at the Victoria's Secret who basically went after a woman, a Black woman, I don't know, it was Jamaican, I can't remember, and in New Jersey. And then when the lady started videoing her, she had a fit. She freaked out and had a full-on mental breakdown. I guess it was a mental breakdown. Oh my gosh. Hello there.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
So you were talking about the Cornell West thing and the Nicole Hannah thing. This is my thing. What a lot of people don't know about those situations is Cornell West left the school before over a situation like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Nicole Hannah, they waited to the very last day to approve her tenure.
Yeah, it was obnoxious.
And this is the problem.
Yeah, it was obnoxious.
I'm sorry?
It was obnoxious. They were purposely being obnoxious about it.
Right. But this is the thing. You cannot use the master's tool to destroy the master's house. If you're talking about Cornell West, do you really think they want somebody like you at that school? He's a novelty at best. With Nicole Hannah, you brought up the 1619 project. You have white America on fire. Did you really think that was going to happen? And everybody laughed and was upset with Jamel Hill when she said it, that black athletes and black teachers should go to HBCUs.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, these people are not going to treat you with respect and dignity as you deserve.
Right. It's true.
And so why waste your brilliance on these people? These same people, like, what's his name, Pompeo and DeSantis, I think was Kylie McEnany, all of these people went to Harvard. You may have taught these people. You may have had some kind of relationship with these people. But what are these people doing right now? They're enacting laws to put you as a second-class citizen.
They're white supremacists. They're white supremacists is what they are.
Right. So what I'm saying is these people that go to Harvard are elitists in classes. So why would you uphold white supremacy? So, as I call it, they both got their Negro wake-up call. Felicia Rashad got her Negro wake-up call because they showed you, we're going to let you do certain things up until a certain point.
Yep.
But when you upset too many white people, you're done.
You won't get real equality. You'll get the equality until we decide. Many of those.
Right. We're going to tolerate you.
Right.
Like, that's why I always say when they would say we need to teach tolerance. Tolerating somebody is not the same thing as accepting.
No.
Tolerating means I'm going to deal with you until I don't have to.
Putting up with somebody, right?
So
Putting up with somebody.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right. So that's what I wanted to tell you about that situation. Both of them got the Negro wake-up calls because they thought they're academia and it goes into that respectability politics.
The academia, you'd think, would. But nope. It's everywhere. It's
right.
Everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Did you really think after putting out the 1619 project and telling these white folks what they did to us and truthfully and get a Pulitzer Prize, which has been validated, you really think there was not going to be no white lash on you and that you wasn't going to be white bald? Come on now.
Yeah. No.
And this is why I believe Cornell West, Nicole, all of those black professors need to go right on back to HBCU and let them schools flail, because that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get enough of the brilliance out of there, they're going to be like, whoa, think if you took half the athletes out of these Ivy League schools and sent them to HBCUs, the money is going to go where the athletes are.
Yeah, and it's sad. Anastasia, it's just a sad thing, but I hear you. It's sad, but that is reality right now. Is how many weeks
you should participate in your own oppression.
Right, how many weeks or years or months or decades or centuries do people wait not to get more than everybody else has, just to have equity? I mean, you tell me until you finally say, you know what, I'm done. I'm over.
But this is the thing, like, I learned from the the bus boycott, that little colored sign that they had, it was movable.
What
So they
boycott?
were participating.
What,
I'm sorry?
What boycott did you say?
The Birmingham bus boycott
okay.
with Martin
Gotcha.
Luther King.
I just didn't hear
A
you.
lot of people think it was, I'm sorry?
I just couldn't hear you. That was all.
Oh, the Birmingham bus boycott with Martin Luther King. Two things a lot of people, I don't even think they know, that the bus company and the local government sued Martin Luther King and them because they said it was illegal for you to stop, for you to take your money away from a company. That's one thing. Number two, the little sign, the colored sign, was movable. It wasn't stationary. So as you moved to the back of the bus, you took the sign with you. And this is all that they're doing. They're manufacturing consent to be oppressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do like everybody else does. I'm sorry, Montgomery bus boycott, not Birmingham. Montgomery bus
okay, you mean
bus boycott. What I'm saying is, why participate in your own oppression? Go back to the HBCUs, make those things, make those schools pillars. Because why is Harvard an Ivy League school? Because white people said it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a way to invoke classism and wealth into it. I don't think Kylie McEnany, George Pompeo, or none of them are any smarter than the both of us talking right now. So just because they went to Harvard, now they're uber smart? Come on. Well, that's all I wanted to say.
They couldn't be that smart because it depends how you judge smartness. They are racist. That to me is that's idiotic. That's not intelligence. So I mean, there's that. But yeah, it's a very, very convoluted situation. And like Mr. F.S. Black says, many of the HBCUs are white funded. Is that true? I don't know about that.
So yes. So, okay, let's talk about there's one HBCU that is predominantly white, to be totally honest. And this is the thing. Why are HBCUs funded by white people? Because 9 in 10 times, the black people, even out of the community, are not able to have those discretionary funds to give to the school. Yeah. And when they do, what do? They spend their money on these predominantly white schools. They try to get their kids, like, I think it was Dr. Dre. He spent like $5 million for his daughter to get into some university in California. You know what I'm saying? Remember, all of them got caught up in that.
In the scandal.
That thing, Aunt Becky and all of them was in it, and she spent like 2 weeks in jail.
Yeah. Yeah, USC.
Yeah, they all, that one school, I forget what the name of the school was, but that's the thing. It all goes back to when we started thinking a white man's ice was colder than our own. If you take your students out those schools and put them back in those black schools and start supporting those schools, they'll have to come to you.
Well, to be honest, Anastasia, I've seen quite a shift in the mainstream opinion of my black friends and brown friends, quite the shift in the last 10 years, where people are done. They're through. They're done. They're not going to try and compete in this completely uneven, purposefully uneven playing field. They're done. And they want to go to vacations where there are no white people. They want to go to schools where there are a few white people. They want to go to towns where there are not. I mean, and you know what? I don't blame them one bit. Not one bit.
My husband, and let me be honest with you, my husband is white. And you know what he told me? He said, we're not moving around all them white people. He said, we're going to stay in a black neighborhood and be around black people. Because I'm over it. I know you're over it.
Yeah, I mean, how much do you take? How much do you take? It's just not, how much should somebody take before they just, how many generations? Right. It's ridiculous.
Right.
So
I don't want to live in a predominantly white neighborhood. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt that got too small. And it was horrible. It was completely and utterly horrible. I'd rather stay in the black neighborhood and rebuild and help them. But I'm not doing that. And that's the thing, it goes to status. Because a person, and even with the HBCUs, they look at you different when you've been to an HBCU. Kamala Harris went to a HBCU, but again, that doesn't mean she's not going to uphold white supremacy. That just means she went to a HBCU. I'm just saying there are different types of people that come out of that.
Right, absolutely.
But the problem, my thing is that I will not send my children to a predominantly white institution. Not at all. And that won't happen at all.
Not in this culture.
It's not going to happen. I'm not going to spend my money for my child to go there and then the teachers mess with them, the students mess with them, or they end up being bullied so much that they want to kill themselves. I'm not going to put that trauma on them.
Oh, it's got to be incredible pressure and stress that is just unnecessary. That's what it all is.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
My husband sent me to Bali, and it was a time out from white people. It was a trip to realize, to get rid of some of the trauma of white supremacy. And it was held by Black people, by Black therapists that understand Black things that go on in Black spaces. And it was like so refreshing because it was like, now I don't have somebody gaslighting me. And Cornel West, he knows better. This is the thing, Cornel West knows better.
He's trying to play the game. He wants to be in the mix, and it's not fair. And he's right. It's not fair. It's not fair.
He knows, but he knows better. And he thinks that if he plays the game with them, that eventually there's no change in these people. They're not going to give their power up for you. Now, there are people that are willing to walk with you, but if you say, hey, I need you to give up your power for
whole
this.
Nother story.
There's a lot of people that will walk away. They're not going to do it.
Can I tell you? Oh, sorry to interrupt. Can I tell you a story? I got a story that is, and then I got to wrap it up. I want you to say some closing remarks as well.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna hang up and listen.
Are you sure? Do you have any?
While I'm talking, I can't listen to you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you want to say anything more? Do you have anything more? Do you want to say anything more before you hang up? Because I cut you off a little.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll type it in. No worries.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
No problem.
All right. We'll talk soon. She's such great insight. It's amazing. She's so real. I love it. Thank you so much. Anastasia, what I was going to say, I didn't mean to chase you away, was I've had two experiences even as a white person, and I can speak for this from experience. I started an organization in my town, and it was running, I thought it was running smoothly. Seemed like it was going great. And lo and behold, it began to disintegrate and fold. And a bunch of white folks took it over by force. When I told them that they were not going to be the center, that Black people and brown people would be the people on the board, and Black people and brown people and people in historically numerical minority groups would be, and that we would be calling on the people to speak, not the white people first. They lost their shit. And maybe I shouldn't have announced that, but see, it's called being a fake liberal. Like, yay, everything's beautiful when you get your picture on Facebook. But the minute you have to give up some power, they were just blown away. They could not have it. They were like, they became just lunatics. They became lunatics. They couldn't believe it that I was saying that they wouldn't be the center. I was trying to teach them some culture, the organizational culture that I was trying to, I was trying to educate them. And the other thing they flipped shit on was when I said that there would be education for white folks and that all white folks would be educated. We white folks, we want to feel special, like we're all that, but we're not all that. Okay. We don't want to do all the things you got to do to be all that. And I'm not saying everybody, but most. How do I know this? I don't know every white person in the world, but because systemic racism is still dominating every area of life. And we hold the power. So there we are. And the very last thing I wanted to tell you, Anastasia and everybody else, is even as a white person, because the more I learn, the more stressful for me it is to go out and see all this happening. And it's stressful. I went to the Dominican Republic for the first time in my life. I got to hang out, and well, actually the second time in my life, because in Compton Unified, when I was a teacher there, I was one of 3 in the whole school, one of 3 white people, but it was different because I was in a professional setting. When I went to the Dominican Republic, at the time of my life, I was around all brown people, almost exclusively. And I know I must have stood out like you wouldn't believe, but it was such a different experience. I didn't, there were obviously other things like, economic differences and whatnot, but I didn't have to wait and watch while some white person did something cruel to them. And it was a really freeing experience, and I'm a white person, so I cannot imagine. Anyway, I want to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week. If you have any cutting edge news that you think I should be posting immediately, please send it to my Facebook page called Angry Soccer Mom. If you want to say hi to me, if you want to tell a story, give me advice, do whatever you wish, just have your voice heard, please do so. And if you feel like I do, that it's way past time that white America takes racial responsibility, not to be the leader, not to get all the attention, not to save the day as a hero, but because we're human and we really care about our fellow humans, then please consider subscribing and following what I do and getting to know me. So thank you so much. I am Legend Anastasia. You're wonderful. T. And oh my gosh, Jamie, thank you so much for being here. And oh my gosh, I'm trying to name everybody. Mahako, I'm not sure if you're still here because I'm blabbing away. My friend Mark, my friend Michael. And if I skipped you, please forgive me. I will go over all the comments once more after we're off the air. So thank you so much for watching and supporting what I do. The best thing you can do if you want to support what I'm doing is get my videos to white folks. And that's all I can ask. So good night. Stay safe. You don't need me to tell you things are going to get worse before they get better. Please stay safe. All right. See you next Wednesday. Bye. Great show. You guys made the show. Thanks. Good night.